All right, so today's interview is with Dylan Remmers. He joined Scale Matrix after about 9 months of really struggling and getting absolutely no traction with his agency. And literally, after just under 2 months of joining our program and working together, he sends me this message, which I'll put up on the screen, letting us know that he had a 5K cash collected week, which was a huge shift in momentum. And he's now gone on to continually growing his monthly recurring revenue and is on his way to crack 12, 15K months, which is super, super exciting. The way that we're able to help him make this shift after 9 months of having no traction with his agency is really simplifying everything. Focusing on one core simple outreach method, which we'll be revealing in this interview, making sure that we're only focusing on one core niche and one core client avatar, and then also only focusing on selling one simple service. That's what you have to do when you're starting out. If you are anything below 10K per month right now in your agency, you're going to get a huge amount of value from watching this interview, especially if you're struggling to get clients, because the strategy that we talk about really goes against the grain from what I have been hearing everyone talking about in this space. And this is the exact strategy that allowed me to go from 0 to literally 12K per month in a span of about 4 months, when I was also working full-time on my agency. When I was also studying full-time at university and wasn't taking the agency really very seriously at all, and was only spending a couple hours a week on it. And I was able to get to 12K per month while studying full-time at university using this method, and we reveal it in this training. So stick around, watch it all the way through. You're going to get a ton of value from this one. Hope you like it. Awesome, guys. So today we've got Dylan Rimmers, and we've just been having a quick chat about how he's been going with his agency. So do you want to give us a quick intro of where you're from, name your agency, who you guys help, who you guys serve, and then we'll get stuck into it.
Yeah, so my name's Dylan. I'm based in Kingscliff, so that's northern New South Wales, just south of the Gold Coast. And my agency is Commission Compass. We work with real estate agents, so it's just client acquisition for real estate agents. And yeah, that's what we're doing.
Awesome. Perfect. So first thing I wanted to start out with was initially before you joined Scale Matrix and started working with us in the mastermind. What was like the main problem that you had prior to joining that you were mainly wanting to get solved? And maybe it wasn't just like, one super specific thing or like a couple things, but what were you mainly looking for? What were you mainly needing help with before joining the mastermind?
It was 100% service delivery, and just my conviction around it, because I knew I had the ability to get clients. It was just, service delivery, clarity around that, getting help with that, and where I should actually go with it. Because just in terms of even the fact that I onboarded a media buyer, and it didn't work out, 2 media buyers actually, I got a lot of clarity with the service delivery, and I really needed help with it. So that's why I really needed help with it at that point.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely think that's one of the biggest things that I see so many agent owners struggling with in the early stages of the business is not having that confidence and clarity around service delivery. Because I mean, just practically and objectively, like you're not super experienced in that field, and haven't gone through the motions of providing that service. And so, especially when you're the one doing the sales calls and you're the one doing the outreach and you're the one that is selling the thing, as we know, like conviction in your service is one of the most important parts of performing well in a sales role. It's like if you don't have conviction about what you're selling, then it makes it hard to sell. And also just like day-to-day confidence and motivation just showing up in the business. So having that clarity around, okay, like I know I can get results for my clients. I know what I'm providing. I know that this is the right thing. Like I remember being at that stage, and I did the exact same thing. I worked with some coaches and some mentors and got some clarity around building out the service. And so, yeah, shortcutting that learning process is definitely huge. Was there anything else, and mainly just getting your service delivery dialed in?
Yeah, I think it was a service delivery. I mean, I kind of discovered that there was other things that did need help. I mean, I knew the onboarding process and that kind of thing. And when we had our call before I ended up getting your program, that was one of the things we touched on, is like, how do I get my onboarding sorted out? And now I've got that completely sorted out, and I'm really happy with it. And I think the biggest thing as well with the service delivery is, I did have 3 paying clients and then I lost them as a result of that. And so there was obviously a lot of pain there. And so, yeah, it did feel like I lost all my conviction, and subconsciously I didn't want to even get clients because I knew that it would just be a struggle, even with the onboarding, with the service delivery, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a really, a really, really good point there that I think not many people would be self-aware enough to address, that when we're like doing difficult things, we can subconsciously be self-sabotaging ourselves and not actually giving ourselves the opportunity to win. It's like if we know that we have a problem with service delivery, sometimes we avoid actually doing what we know needs to be done to get clients, to give yourself the opportunity to improve that thing, because the reality is it's not easy and it's not fun to do some of these things. Like figuring out how to provide a good service is not easy at all. There's a lot of trial and error that goes into it. There's a lot of, you will have tricky client situations, you will have hard conversations, but you have to go through those things. Yeah, cool. So next thing was, obviously we're not the only course helping agency owners out there. There's a lot of agency coaches and gurus, I guess. What why did you come to us in the first place? Why did you join our program over any other agency or course program out there specifically?
I mean, obviously a big factor is that first of all, you grew up in the place that I'm living at the moment. So there was like that factor. But yeah, I mean, real estate specific, massive. Well, not that the course is necessarily real estate specific, but the fact that you had that knowledge and that's something that you coached me on, massive, by far the biggest thing, because I knew that you could fix whatever I kind of needed or needed help with. And so that, yeah, by far that was the biggest thing. I think, yeah, I mean that you're local. I liked also in your marketing material, I think I saw on one of your funnels or something, a guy talking about how you helped him out with the service delivery. And so because that spoke to me. And when we had our calls and you were telling me about how you could help me out with Go High Level, for example, that was a big tick for me because I just didn't understand any of that stuff. And I didn't want to have to go on YouTube and figure out all this stuff that wasn't even specific to the niche anyway. And so, yeah, it was a big tick that you had all the stuff that I needed in the real estate space specifically as well. So that definitely helped out.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think that's like a hack for any agency owner, and like definitely something that I did, that like it's inevitable that we need coaches, we need mentors. Like you need to be working with someone that is a few steps ahead of you to shortcut your process so that you're not making as many expensive mistakes. But if you're going to do that, you might as well be working with someone that has done the business model closer to the niche that you're working with. Like, if you're an e-commerce agency, like not saying that you shouldn't work with us, but if you're depending on what you're needing help with, like you'd probably be better off working with an agency coach or mentor that has scaled an agency in the e-com niche, because between like e-com and local business lead gen niches, like there's a lot of kind of big core differences between working with those client types. But if you're working with local business lead gen clients, then we're definitely one of the best people to go to. And so yeah, I think any agency owner listening right now, if you're looking for a coach or mentor, try and find someone that has built a business closer to the type of business that you're trying to build. Yeah,
cool. 100%.
So next, I just wanted to touch on like at where we're at now, like as a result of implementing some of the stuff that we've been through, working on together, upgrading some areas of the agency. What's been the outcome? What's shifted for you? What have you been able to achieve, and how's that made your life different as an agency owner?
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting because what I was doing before required me to take a couple steps back. And so it wasn't like I got in the program and then it just went like that. There was a lot of stuff that was kind of wrong, ideas that I had that just they weren't, things that were going to help me out. So I had to peel that back, realize that what I was doing was wrong. And then probably, I'm not sure how long, maybe month or two into, after getting all that stuff sorted and then starting to do it, the path was so much clearer. And so, I'm not working with a media buyer because I need to understand the service and I can have Liam help me out. And so that part of it is sort of sorted. I don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. And so last week, even though it was upfront payments, I had a 5K week, and I'd say 4K of that was probably profit. Yeah. And it had been a while since I had made money, so it was pretty important that I did have to end up making that. And I had all the skills I needed to be able to do that. I also had my onboarding process all sorted out. It's perfect now. And so I didn't subconsciously feel like I don't want to put on clients because I had that built out. I have certain SOPs built out and that kind of thing from Liam's program that made me feel confident in being able to take on new clients and be able to charge money for it and that kind of thing. And I do have a couple of free trial clients, which is something that you recommended, and it looks like I'd probably convert one of them in the US. And so I'm just in a better place in terms of working with people, the service delivery, and pretty good results for the guy in the US as well. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Definitely a lot better place in terms of, a few people might look at this and be like, oh, I'm not making a ton. But considering that I was on the sort of the wrong path for so long, and then only within a couple months of being with Liam, it's completely changed it around. And now I'm on a different trajectory that's actually going to help me out. And I'm actually going to go somewhere. I've already started to see that, and it's starting to pay off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've definitely seen that since working with you. And I know that you've got a really, really good work ethic. I see you on your stories up at 4 a.m. most days putting in the work. And so if you're just working on the right stuff, it's inevitable that you're gonna get to where you want to go. I think most people in this space, the reason that they don't win is just because they don't stick around for long enough. And the reality is that if you stick with a business model like this for at least a year and a half, it's pretty impossible. It's pretty impossible to lose. And if you're doing that while also getting help from someone that's already done it, you're pretty much guaranteeing your success, and you get 100% made a ton of progress over the last 2 to 3 months that we've been working together.
Yeah, and to give context to the people who are watching, I've had my agency for about a year, and so I had 9 or so months of just having to just completely will through it and feel like kind of alone in a sense and trying to figure stuff out. I did have a coach, and I still talk to them, but it's not real estate specific. They serve their purpose around appointment setting for Zoom calls and that kind of thing. But yeah, 9 months of it just being such a drag to try and do it. And I feel like most people probably would have given up in that 9 months because it was just nothing really going on. It just felt like a lot of stuff was going wrong. And then that's 9 months of nothing pretty much. And then as soon as I get into Liam's, peeling back all those past 9 months that weren't working, and then probably a month of really implementing the stuff that's that you've been teaching me. And then I'm already in a better place. I've made more money in those in a week than I have in those 9 months. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. There's going to be many more 5K weeks to come. It's just the beginning.
Yeah. Worries.
Sweet. And so I guess, where do you think that you'd be right now if we didn't start working together a couple months ago?
I'd definitely just be on the same path I was on, not really knowing what I'm doing. I'm sure that I eventually would have figured something out, and it would have been a lot harder for me to give up on the idea of needing a media buyer.
Yeah.
That would have been something I probably would have stuck with. And I would have kept on getting burned by media buyers and kept on losing clients and that kind of thing, which would have, having that negative word of mouth would have really impacted my business. And so, yeah, I'd probably, I at this point especially, I wouldn't be in a good place. I might have a few free trial clients or something like that, but just, yeah, the confidence to be able to go have an in-person meeting and that kind of thing. Like in-person meetings have definitely changed things around. um I wouldn't have been doing that stuff. I would have been too caught up in the whole doing stuff on Zoom. You got to do everything from your home office and that kind of thing. And just you being able to tell me that you can get out there and you can have in-person meetings because you've found a lot of success with them, especially when you're getting started. Just that kind of stuff, little stuff like that. I wouldn't have shifted my mindset on because I had no one to tell me that, no one of authority to tell me that that kind of stuff is actually helpful. So yeah, I'd kind of just be on the same trajectory, and I would have eventually figured it out. But to just have it all in one spot and just ask the person who's doing it at a high level, like it's definitely worth whatever I paid for it. So yeah, paying down that time debt.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, I think like at the end of the day, because I consistently still work with mentors, and like I would not be where I am right now without I've spent a ridiculous amount of money working with different coaches and mentors and joining programs. And I think like at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that you get value from is just like reducing that decision fatigue of taking a piece of advice and knowing that it's coming from a place of authority because you see that it's worked for them, and just taking action on that thing and not second guessing it. Because I think most of what slows down our growth in business is not actually like spending as much time as we could be just like actually working on productive stuff, because we've got so much uncertainty around if what we're spending our time on is the right thing or is that the direction we should go in. And so we can just have that like kind of clear cut advice, like do this, do this, do this, and you can just take action confidently. Like that is what allows you to grow so much more quickly. And for context, like like you're mentioning about media buyers, like that is definitely a big thing that holds a lot of agency owners back. Like most people come in from the make money online space and get into some beginner SMMA programs, and they kind of tell you just to start outsourcing everything as quickly as possible, and you're completely removed from actually building a service and caring about your clients and understanding your niche and understanding the industry. And you don't know how to run ads, and so you can't hold a media buyer accountable, and you don't know what to look for. And yeah, just like straight up, a lot of the beginner SMMA programs kind of set a lot of people up for failure. And it's kind of a bit of a dated model. And so yeah, I'm glad that that's been helpful for you.
Yeah, 100%. And because yeah, like it's so, because I got caught up in the whole you got to have like leverage and stuff like that. And I thought, you're doing SMA for leverage, like you're doing it so you don't have to do anything kind of thing. And it's like the complete wrong mindset to have, is that you don't have to do anything in your business. I know it's just funny to think back that like that was
Well,
so
like
essential for me.
you do need a media buyer. It's just like there's a time and place, and like you need that.
Yeah, yeah.
It needs to be at the right stage. Like obviously we need to outsource. We need to build a team. Like that's inevitable, but not from day one, before you've actually been in the trenches and done any of the hard work and worked with the client. And yeah, anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. And see, I used to hear this kind of stuff, and I'll be like, nah, I just don't want to do that. Like I just don't want to do that. But if there's anyone who is kind of like, no, I'm not doing that, I've got to get media out, it might work for some people. But trust me, that's exactly what I thought, and I'm in a much better place now. And I was 9 months deep in thinking that, so I was pretty stuck in my ways. And as soon as I changed it, everything, it just looked up for the better. So if you are someone who's like, no, I'm gonna get a media by day one, probably don't.
Cool.
Yeah.
So lastly, like if there's anyone watching this right now that's on the fence about joining the mastermind, join the program, working with us, what would you tell them?
I mean, I couldn't I definitely haven't seen anything like this because I've been in a couple programs and stuff like that. This is the most, first of all, like hands on. He's actually going to be in the ads manager with you type thing that I've experienced. And then yeah, I don't know, especially if you're in real estate. Like it's a no brainer if you're in the real estate niche, just because I don't know anyone else who's so specific and who will give you assets and that kind of thing who is a coach. Yeah, like yeah, I can't think of any other program that I would recommend more. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, yeah, I don't know how else to put it. If you are on the fence, and especially if you're in a real estate niche, lead gen in general, um, you don't really have anything to lose if you come in here. And if anything, it's a new perspective, and you get someone who's actually hands on, not just like a course, and then every now and then you have a group call that doesn't go anywhere. Like this has really helped me out.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you for that feedback. And I think like one of the only reasons that I'm able to do that is because I don't actually accept that many that many agency owners in, and like this
Mm,
program is not my main business, and it's not like the main thing that I'm working on growing. And because I'm actually an agency owner, I'm actually building a real agency, and so
mm,
I just keep things really intimate and like and don't bring on too many clients, and that way I'm able to actually spend a lot of time working with the people that I'm working with, which is the way I like to run things. And I think
mm,
you guys benefit from that.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you are getting started out, another little point to add is that uh, when I've been doing my in-person meetings and I've closed 2 out of the 3 in-person meetings I've had, it's not actually a bad thing to mention that you're working with mentors. Like that's one of the key things that I mentioned in like the first slide, is that even though I don't have a bunch of case studies and testimonials, I've been working with coaches who are like the top people in the industry. And no one's been like, oh, like they don't even ask me about case studies and testimonials because they already know where I'm at, and they're happy to that I'm upfront about it. So you don't have to feel like you're hiding something like, oh, Liam's, they're paying me to help for Liam to help me out. I know that kind of thing. It's 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 not a bad thing that you're working with a mentor, and you can tell prospective clients that,
Yeah.
and they'll be happy about it, honestly.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's kind of just like typical, the truth will set you free. I think
Mm,
people try and hide behind the reality of their situation and think that they need to put up a front and create fake case studies or lead on to the fact that they're a lot more experienced than they are. And the reality is that
mm,
I think people just let go from that and be authentic. Like when you're in those early stages, like, and that's exactly what I did. Like when I first started doing my in-person meetings, I didn't pretend that I had more clients than I did or had more experience than I did. I was just like, I haven't done this before, but this is what I'm doing. I'm working with a
mm.
mentor. This is what I'm building. This is what I can do for you. And people respect that way more than because people see right through, especially when we're young.
Yeah.
Like especially when we're young, like most of the time, any of our potential clients are older, established business owners. Like they're not
Mm,
dumb. Like they've been around. They've been around. Like they've experienced working with all different types of variety of people. Like if you're not going to fool a business owner, they're going to see right through your BS. And so yeah, I think that's a
mm.
very important takeaway. Just be authentic, be real, say how it is. Clients will respect you for
Yeah.
it. You'll win more business that way.
Yeah. And if you try and fake anything, you're gonna get exposed. Like it's just not sustainable. Like you'll get exposed so quickly, and then you'll kind of lose your conviction around everything that you're doing if you're a decent person, at least. Like, yeah, there's no point trying to fake anything because it's just not going to work out. So
Yeah, 100%. Cool, man. I think that's anything. Any final thoughts or takeaways, or touch on some good stuff there?
I think that's it for me. Pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much what was on my mind.
Perfect. Awesome, guys. Well, I think I'll be posting this video probably on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching this right now, you've gotten to the end, and if you're considering joining the mastermind, becoming a part of Scale Matrix, there'll be a link below. You can book in a call directly with myself or one of our other advisors. And so click that link, jump on a call. We'll just have an open, honest conversation about how we can help you grow, help you scale the agency. And that's it. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for your time, Dylan.
Appreciate it.